What if I told you that the first 30 minutes of your day could skyrocket your English skills without spending hours studying? Let's turn your mornings into your personal English accelerator. Morning routines set the tone for your whole day. By adding small, consistent English habits in the morning, you can naturally improve your vocabulary, speaking, listening, and confidence, all while starting your day energized. Today, I'll share 6 simple but powerful steps you can include in your morning routine to boost your English. Wake up with English. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, opening your eyes and feeling an immediate sense of possibility. The sun hasn't fully risen, the world is still soft and quiet, and in that fragile, magical space between sleep and action, you have a choice. You can drift back into your routine, scrolling through notifications, or you can seize the first moments of your day to invest in yourself, specifically in your English. Here's the secret that most people overlook. The first 30 minutes of your day are the most fertile, the most receptive. Your mind is fresh, uncluttered by the noise and stress of deadlines, errands, and emails. This is the perfect window to tune yourself to a new frequency, to stretch the muscles of your brain, and to invite English, not as a task or a chore, but as a gentle companion for your morning. Waking up with English isn't about forcing yourself to study or memorizing vocabulary under pressure. It's about creating a ritual, a habit so seamlessly woven into your morning that it feels natural, inspiring, and even enjoyable. It's about setting the tone for the day. If you start the day learning, listening, and thinking in English, you carry that energy forward. Your brain begins to associate English with calm, focus, and positivity rather than struggle. So, how can you wake up with English in a way that feels effortless yet profoundly effective? Start small. Begin with just 5 to 10 minutes of English content before you do anything else. This could be a short news article that captures your curiosity, a podcast that speaks to your passions, or a few pages of a book that transport you to another world. The key is consistency and presence. When you immerse yourself in English first thing in the morning, you are telling your brain, today I choose growth. Today I choose connection. Today I choose a world larger than the one I woke up in. Imagine sipping your morning coffee or standing by your window as light spills across your room and hearing a new phrase or a beautiful sentence in English. Pause. Let it settle. Feel the words vibrate in your mind. Don't rush. Don't just glance at them or skim through. Absorb, repeat, whisper them aloud, write them down, make them yours. Every single word is a bridge between where you are and where you want to be, a tool that expands your ability to communicate, to understand, and to dream bigger. Waking up with English is also an act of courage. In those early moments, before responsibilities demand your attention, you are choosing self-investment. You are giving yourself the gift of growth without pressure, without comparison, without expectation. You're saying, I will meet the world with more words, more understanding, more clarity. And this choice, repeated day after day, transforms not only your language skills, but also your mindset. You wake up believing in your capacity to learn, to connect, and to improve. And to think about the power of listening in the morning. Play a podcast, a song, or a story in English as you move through your routine. Let your ears become attuned to rhythm, tone, and pronunciation. Don't just hear, listen. Absorb the music of the language. Feel it shaping your thoughts. The brain, freshly rested, is extraordinarily receptive to new sounds and structures. Words you hear in the quiet of the morning are more likely to stick, more likely to surface later when you need them. And then there's reading. A few minutes with an English article, a short story, or even a thoughtful social media post can open your mind in ways scrolling aimlessly never will. Your eyes meet words that challenge you, sentences that inspire you, ideas that stretch your imagination. You're not just reading, you're training your mind to think in a new language, to form connections, to interpret nuance. Every paragraph is a small victory. Every sentence a seed planted for your future fluency. The beauty of waking up with English is that it doesn't demand perfection. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to remember every word. What matters is presence. What matters is the act of showing up for yourself before the world demands your attention. Your morning English habit is a conversation with your future self, a self who speaks confidently, who understands deeply, who embraces opportunities without hesitation. Consistency compounds. 5 minutes today, 10 tomorrow, 15 the day after, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, your brain begins to rewire. English stops being a foreign language and becomes a natural part of your thought process. You start noticing words, expressions, and patterns in daily life. You speak with more confidence. You listen with more understanding. You read with more insight. All because you chose, in those quiet early minutes, to wake up with English. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that these first moments are precious, powerful, and entirely yours. Pick up a short article, play a podcast, whisper a sentence aloud, and let your mind awaken to possibility. Make this small ritual your own and watch as it transforms not just your English, but your entire day and eventually your life. Because the mornings we claim for ourselves are the mornings that shape who we become. Waking up with English isn't just a routine, it's a statement. It's an invitation to grow, to explore, and to step confidently into a world full of opportunities. And the best part, it all starts with a single choice: to begin the day with curiosity, presence, and courage. Think in English. One of the most powerful yet overlooked habits in learning English is not just speaking or listening, it's thinking in English. Imagine for a moment how your mind works when you wake up. Thoughts stream naturally, plans for the day, reminders, reflections on yesterday. Most of these thoughts happen in your native language. But what if, just for a few moments each day, you gently shifted that inner voice into English? Thinking in English is more than translation. It's immersion at the deepest level. When your thoughts flow in English, you're no longer trying to bridge two languages in your mind. You're training your brain to operate directly in English, to form ideas, feelings, and reactions naturally. You're giving your mind the freedom to connect words with meaning without hesitation. Start small. Narrate your morning silently in English. As you make breakfast, think, I am pouring coffee. The aroma is strong and comforting. I am ready to start my day. Notice how ordinary actions suddenly become opportunities to practice fluency. When you think in English, every simple task transforms into a mental exercise, a quiet rehearsal that strengthens your confidence and sharpens your vocabulary. Thinking in English also trains your creativity. When you describe your surroundings, your emotions, or your plans in English, your brain begins to explore language in new ways. You experiment with expressions, phrases, and sentence structures without fear of judgment. Mistakes are not failures. They are the raw material of learning. Your inner monologue becomes a playground for language, a safe space where fluency grows organically. The real magic happens when this habit becomes subconscious. Over time, your brain starts processing thoughts in English automatically. You begin to dream in English, to plan, reason, and reflect without mentally translating from your native language. This is where real fluency emerges, effortless, instinctive, and natural. Thinking in English also boosts your speaking and listening skills. Your mind is already forming sentences, so when the time comes to speak, words flow smoothly. Your understanding deepens because your brain anticipates and recognizes structures and patterns in conversations. Every moment you think in English is a rehearsal for real-world communication. To make it a habit, dedicate the first few minutes after waking to conscious mental practice. Describe your environment, your feelings, or your intentions for the day. Reflect on yesterday's experiences in English. Imagine conversations or tell a short story to yourself silently. Let your mind wander, but let it wander in English. This habit transforms your relationship with language. English stops being a separate subject to study. It becomes the lens through which you perceive and interpret the world. Thinking in English strengthens not just vocabulary and grammar, but confidence, creativity, and clarity. Every thought you shift into English is a victory. Every sentence you mentally construct brings you closer to fluency. And the more consistently you practice, the more natural it becomes. Slowly, day by day, your inner world and outer world begin to align, and English stops being a language you use only consciously. It becomes a language you think, feel, and live in. Thinking in English is more than a technique. It's a mindset, a quiet revolution in the way you approach language and life. When you choose to think in English, you are not just learning, you are becoming fluent, present, and empowered. Morning vocabulary. Drill. Every day, your mind is like a garden, ready to cultivate new ideas, experiences, and possibilities. Words are the seeds you plant in that garden. Each new word you learn is not just a tool for communication. It's a doorway, a lens that allows you to see, feel, and express the world in ways you couldn't before. That's the magic of a morning vocabulary drill, a small, intentional act that nourishes your mind and expands your horizons before the day even begins. Start by choosing just 3 to 5 words each morning, manageable, focused, and deliberate. These aren't random words. They are words you feel drawn to, words that spark curiosity, words that you can immediately relate to your life. Write them down, speak them aloud. Imagine them in different sentences. Feel their sound roll off your tongue. Let them echo in your mind. This is not memorization. It is intimate exploration. You are learning words the way a musician learns notes, by listening, feeling, and practicing until they become part of your natural rhythm. Think of the morning as a quiet sanctuary. While the world outside is still waking up, your mind is clear, receptive, and calm. In this space, words are more than letters. They are concepts, emotions, and images. When you connect a word with a personal story, a memory, or a feeling, it stops being abstract. It becomes alive, real, and unforgettable. Each new word is like a bridge connecting you to new ideas, new conversations, and new perspectives. Speaking these words aloud is crucial. Don't just whisper them, say them with intention. Let your voice reinforce the connection between thought and expression. Imagine yourself using these words in conversations later today. Picture how confident and expressive you feel when a new word perfectly captures what you want to say. That visualization makes your learning tangible and purposeful. The beauty of a morning vocabulary drill is in its rhythm. You're not cramming or rushing, you're savoring language. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, perhaps 15, just enough to plant seeds that your brain will nurture throughout the day. These words may appear in conversations, in writing, or in your thoughts, often when you least expect it. That is the power of daily intentional practice, compounding growth quietly and consistently. Over time, this habit transforms your language skills. You begin to notice nuances, synonyms, and shades of meaning. You become more precise, more confident, and more expressive. Every word you master is a small victory, a step toward fluency, and a testament to your commitment. The morning vocabulary drill is not about perfection. It's about presence, persistence, and curiosity. Imagine yourself 1 month from now, then 3 months, then a year. Each day, a few words. Each week, a handful more. Before you know it, your inner vocabulary is rich, versatile, and alive. You can express ideas with clarity, emotion, and style. Your confidence grows not because you forced yourself to memorize, but because you've gently, deliberately nourished your mind every morning. A morning vocabulary drill is more than learning words. It is an act of self-investment, a ritual that declares, I am growing, I am capable, I am ready to communicate with the world more fully. Every new word is a spark. Every day is an opportunity. And in these quiet, intentional moments, you are building the foundation for fluency, for confidence, and for a life where language serves you, not the other way around. Listen actively. Listening is often underestimated. Many believe that learning English is about memorizing grammar rules, repeating words, or writing sentences. But true mastery begins with listening, really listening, with attention, curiosity, and presence. Active listening transforms your mind. It trains your ears to hear not just words, but meaning, emotion, rhythm, and nuance. It awakens your ability to understand before speaking, to connect before responding, and to absorb the language as a living, breathing experience. Morning is the perfect time for this practice. The world is quiet, distractions are minimal, your mind is fresh and receptive. When you choose to listen actively, even for a few minutes each morning, you are telling your brain, I am open, I am ready, I am here to learn. Play a short podcast, a news segment, or a story in English. Close your eyes if it helps. Focus entirely on the sounds. Let the pronunciation, intonation, and cadence wash over you. Don't rush to understand everything. Feel the rhythm of the language first. Active listening is more than hearing words. It is decoding their meaning, noticing patterns, and sensing emotion. Pay attention to how sentences are structured. Notice transitions, connectors, and emphasis. Hear how ideas flow and how speakers pause for effect. Imagine yourself inside the conversation, understanding context, anticipating words, and absorbing subtle nuances. This is how the brain learns intuitively through exposure, connection, and focused attention. The magic of active listening is that it rewires your brain for fluency. Over time, your mind begins to predict language patterns. You recognize words before they are fully spoken. You grasp idiomatic expressions and tones naturally. You develop a mental library of phrases that feel alive and ready to use in conversation. Every day you listen actively, your comprehension deepens, your confidence grows, and your ability to think in English strengthens. Make it intentional. Don't multitask with passive listening. Engage with the material. Repeat sentences aloud. Mimic the rhythm or pause to reflect on what you've heard. Ask yourself, what words were new? How did the speaker express emotion? Could I say the same thing in my own words? These small reflective moments transform passive exposure into active learning. Active listening also shapes your ability to communicate. When you understand the subtleties of pronunciation, stress, and intonation, your own speech naturally improves. You speak more confidently with clarity and rhythm. You respond thoughtfully because you've trained your mind to process language before producing it. Listening first, speaking second, that is the path to fluent, natural communication. Incorporating this habit into your morning routine is powerful because it sets the tone for the rest of your day. You step into the world more aware, more attentive, and more receptive to English in every interaction. Conversations become opportunities, not challenges. Science, media, and casual encounters become learning moments. Active listening in the morning is like sharpening a tool. It prepares your mind to engage, absorb, and grow. Each morning you choose to listen actively, you are nurturing a deeper connection with English. You are building comprehension, intuition, and confidence. You are reminding yourself that fluency is not just about words, it's about understanding, feeling, and thinking in a language that opens doors to new experiences, new ideas, and new connections. The sound of English is not just background noise. It is the melody that guides your mind, shapes your speech, and transforms your learning journey into a daily living practice. Speak out loud. Language lives in sound. Words on a page are just symbols until they are given voice. Speaking out loud is where learning truly transforms into action. It is where thought becomes expression, and hesitation gives way to confidence. When you speak English aloud, even for just a few minutes each morning, you are practicing courage, clarity, and self-belief. You are telling yourself, I exist in this language. I can express. I can communicate. Many learners hesitate to speak because they fear mistakes, judgment, or imperfection. But the truth is that perfection is not the goal. Speaking aloud is practice. It is a rehearsal space where mistakes are not failures but stepping stones. Each sentence you form, each word you pronounce, each intonation you experiment with strengthens your brain, trains your mouth, and builds fluency. Your voice becomes a bridge between thought and communication. Start small, read a short paragraph from a book, repeat a sentence from a podcast, or describe your morning routine in English. Don't rush, enunciate clearly, listen to the melody of the words, feel the rhythm and flow. Notice how your tongue and lips form sounds you may have never practiced before. Speaking aloud trains not just memory but muscle, breathing, and ear, an orchestration of your entire body learning to communicate. Speaking aloud in the morning is also an act of presence. It commands attention from your mind, your breath, and your intention. It is a moment where you fully inhabit the language, where your inner voice grows confident enough to meet the world outside. You are shaping not only words, but mindset. You are telling yourself that English is not separate from your life. It is a living tool that you can wield with ease, clarity, and expression. Visualization amplifies this habit. Imagine conversations you want to have, situations you might encounter, or stories you wish to tell. Speak them aloud. Narrate your thoughts as if someone is listening. Use new words you learned in your morning vocabulary drill. Create a mini dialogue with yourself. Each sentence spoken is a rehearsal for real-world communication. Your confidence grows quietly, powerfully, and invisibly until it emerges naturally when you need it most. Consistency compounds. Even 5 minutes of speaking aloud each morning produces noticeable results over weeks and months. Your pronunciation sharpens, your rhythm aligns with native patterns, and your sentences form more naturally. What once felt uncomfortable or foreign becomes familiar, effortless, and even enjoyable. Speaking aloud transforms English from an academic skill into a living, breathing ability. This practice also nurtures courage and authenticity. Speaking aloud is an intimate act. You hear yourself, confront self-doubt, and claim your right to communicate. Over time, this habit carries beyond your quiet mornings. In conversations, presentations, or meetings, you speak with presence, clarity, and intention. The voice that began in solitude becomes the confident, articulate voice that engages the world. Speaking aloud is not just practice, it is transformation. It is the moment where thinking becomes doing, where learning becomes action, and where silence is replaced by expression. Each morning, when you choose to speak English aloud, you are planting seeds of confidence, fluency, and self-belief. Words cease to be abstract. They become yours, alive, and ready to shape your world. The sound of your own voice is proof that you are learning, growing, and moving steadily toward mastery. Set your English goal for the day. Every morning offers a blank page, a fresh opportunity to shape your day intentionally. Just as a traveler sets a destination before a journey, setting a clear English goal each morning guides your focus, energy, and effort. It transforms learning from a passive task into an active pursuit. Without a goal, the day can drift away, filled with distractions and half-hearted attempts. With a goal, every word you read, every sentence you speak, and every moment you listen becomes purposeful. Setting a goal doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a monumental task. In fact, the most effective goals are small, precise, and actionable. Perhaps today you will use 3 new words from your vocabulary drill in conversation. Maybe you'll write a short paragraph in English reflecting on your thoughts, or you might aim to speak for 5 uninterrupted minutes, narrating your morning routine or summarizing a story you listened to. Whatever it is, the key is that it is specific, measurable, and meaningful. A goal gives your mind direction. It creates a lens through which every interaction, observation, and thought can be filtered. When you have a target, even simple experiences become opportunities for growth. Listening to a song, reading a sign, or having a brief chat transforms into practice aligned with intention. Your brain begins to seek out patterns, Notice language nuances and connect new ideas to what you already know. This is how learning accelerates, from passive exposure to active, goal-driven engagement. Writing your goal down amplifies its power. The act of putting your intention on paper or in a note app transforms a thought into a commitment. It signals to your mind that today is purposeful, that your English growth matters, and that your effort is meaningful. When you revisit it throughout the day, it serves as a reminder and a motivator, keeping you accountable and focused. Visualization also strengthens your goal. Picture yourself achieving it, speaking fluently in a conversation, understanding a podcast effortlessly, or writing a paragraph that expresses exactly what you feel. Feel the satisfaction, pride, and confidence that comes with completion. This mental rehearsal primes your brain to recognize and seize opportunities, making your goal not just aspirational but inevitable. Setting a daily English goal is also about celebrating progress. Each completed goal, no matter how small, reinforces your confidence and motivation. Success compounds over time. One day of purposeful effort builds into weeks, months, and eventually a level of fluency that once seemed impossible. Your goals create a rhythm, a structure that transforms learning into a habit and a habit into mastery. Ultimately, your daily goal is more than a task. It is a declaration. Today I will grow. Today I will invest in myself. Today I will speak, think, and connect in English. It aligns your morning routine with intention, focus, and self-belief, reminding you that every word learned, every sentence spoken, and every moment spent listening is part of a larger journey toward fluency, confidence, and empowerment. When you set your English goal each morning, you are not just planning a day, you are shaping your future. You are claiming the life of a confident communicator, a curious learner, and a person who refuses to let potential slip away. Every goal is a small victory. Every day is a new opportunity. And every morning, when you pause to set your intention, you step closer to the person you are becoming, fluent, capable, and unstoppable.